on the record, because the red light's not on. Well, it's still celebrating Thanksgiving. Okay, so hope everyone had a very nice, relaxing Thanksgiving, and I do mean that seriously, although I know you all were very busy with a lot of different things, as was I, but hopefully to the extent you had nice family time, hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. What we're going to call, as you know, pro bono, people have outstanding pro bono cases goes first, so since we have counsel on many of the Affinity Lifestyles real water cases that has outstanding pro bono case, we're going to call that first. I mentioned right before we came on the record, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call Hunwardsen. I'm going to say each of the case numbers, and then I'm going to ask you when you make your appearances, say which of the 5 cases you're on, or if you're on all of them, say all of them. That might be more expedient than going through the listing multiple different times. If you're in the process of doing a settlement and you're still technically on the case, then feel free to make your appearance how you wish to in that regard. Okay, so let's get you all going. Case number 831543 is pages 1 through 33. That's Hunwardsen versus Affinity Lifestyles. As I noted, I'm going to be calling that combined with Rick versus Affinity Lifestyles, 831-880-34 to 60. King versus Real Water, 833-630, pages 61 to 66. Quante Henry versus Affinity, case 844-176, pages 67 to 73. And Tyler Dillman, Affinity versus Affinity et al., 844-348, pages 74. So we'll get you all just say which, when you do your appearances, like I said, please just say which of the cases you are on, and then we will take the status checks separately, but that way it just makes it more efficient for your appearances. On behalf of many of the plaintiffs on Hunwardsen, go ahead please, Mr. Pepperman.
Good morning, Your Honor. Eric Pepperman for plaintiffs in the Hunwardsen matter and the Henry matter, and all plaintiffs in the Rick matter except for Rick.
Okay, and on behalf of Real Water, go ahead please. Affinity Lifestyles Real Water, go ahead please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Joul, Odou, on behalf of Real Water Inc., AffinityLifestyles.com Inc., and Real Water Gold Coast in all 5 cases.
Thank you. Did I have other counsel for plaintiffs in Hunwardsen? Do I have someone from Mr. Parker's office? Or are you doing today?
No, Your Honor. I believe it's me covering today.
Okay, no worries. Okay, in the King matter, I know we've got different counsel for plaintiff. Would you like to make your appearance?
Good morning, Your Honor. Danielle Miller for Plaintiff Lisa King.
Thank you. Any other case that I have another plaintiff's counsel who would like to make an appearance? And to remember, please keep yourselves audio visually, because you can see I've got a huge checkerboard of people. We need to make sure we know who's speaking and we don't interrupt and all that kind of good stuff. And that way we'll get you a nice clear record in these cases. Okay, so now we're going next to Real Water of Tennessee.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Affinity Lifestyle or Real Water.
Oh, my apologies. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
Oh, just to keep us in order. Eric Freeman for AffinityLifestyles.com and Real Water for Hunwardsen, King, and Henry.
King and Henry. Okay, do I have any other defense counsel for Real Water Affinity in either Rick or Dillman? No? Okay.
Your Honor.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Yes, this is Elaine Fresh. I'm also appearing for Real Water Affinity Lifestyles on Hunwardsen, Henry, and King.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Remotely? I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
I apologize, I had my microphone on mute. This is Thomas Valet, V-A-L-E-T, for Plaintiff Tyler Dillman.
Okay. Mr. Parker, would you mind making your appearance on Sosa, for Sosa Hunwardsen? Go
Good
ahead.
morning, Your Honor. Teddy Park from the Plaintiffs.
Thank you. And I was calling all 5 cases together just to make your appearances easier. Do you have any other plaintiffs in any of the other cases that you need to make an appearance?
Not yet, Your Honor.
Okay. That's ominous. Okay.
Oh, Cabay. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Plaintiff Cabay.
Mr. Pepperman, put that mic between you, please.
Okay. So we've taken care of all plaintiffs, we've taken care of all Affinity and Real Water. Let me circle around. I was starting to go to Real Water of Tennessee, and then I'll go to other parties. Go ahead, Real Water of Tennessee. No? And remember, please, you have to keep yourselves on audiovisual at all times, multi-party case. Thank you so very much. Okay, so I don't have anyone from Real Water of Tennessee. That's surprising. Okay. Hannah Instruments, go ahead, please, and all the cases that you're in, please.
Yeah, Chad Fears on behalf of HANA Instruments and Scientific Instrument Development, US Inc., International Inc., and for all the cases.
All 5 cases?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so very much. Mr. Spurlock, do you want to do yours?
David Spurlock, bar number 2565, Hunwardsen, King, Henry, and Rick, Your Honor.
Okay. So Milwaukee Instruments, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Elizabeth Lowell for Milwaukee Instruments in Hunwardsen, Richt, King, Henry, and I do not believe we have appeared in Dealman
Okay.
at this time.
Thank you. And do either of you have any Pro Hawks that need to make appearances? I should circle back to them. Because that's one of the challenges with all the remotes. Okay, no? So
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay.
This is Melanie Hill. I'm local counsel in the Dealman matter for Mr. Valet.
Okay, and that's page 74. You got that one? Okay. Costco, please. Is Costco left in any?
Yeah, good morning, Your Honor. Aaron Machenbacher on behalf of Costco for Hunwardsen, Henry, and Rick.
Thank you. ETT1, we know you're in Hunwardsen. ETT1, Terrible Herbst.
Good morning, Judge. Jan Tomasik for Terrible Herbst in Hunwardsen and the Henry matter, and I'm joined by Pro Hoc counsel Valerie Rojas on the Hunwardsen case.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
Good morning, Your Honor. I wasn't able to make my appearance for Costco. I'm Pro Hoc counsel, Nushan Radini.
Okay, thank you so very much. Mr. Cavanaugh, looks like we might have you called Real Water, Tennessee. Would you like to make your appearance in all the cases? We're calling them for...
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Jim Cavanaugh with Gordon Reese for Real Water of Tennessee, LLC.
Right. Mr. Cavanaugh, you may not have heard the court. We were calling all 5 together, so we had ease instead of making you say your names 5 times over. So are you for Richt, King, Henry, or Dealman as well?
What was the last one, Your Honor?
Richt, King, Jesse Richt et al., although I know there's a pending
Yes.
action on that. Lisa King, Taekwonte Henry, and Tyler Dealman.
I am not in the Tyler Dillman. I am not in that one. I am in the other 4.
Okay, so you were making your appearance on Hunwardsen, Richt, King, and Henry, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you so very much. Okay, Nevada Beverage, any of my other ones?
Morning, Your Honor. Colt Dodrill, bar 9000, counsel for Nevada Beverage in Hunwardsen, as well as Henry case.
Thank you so very much. Just one second. Whoever has the dog, lovely dog, would we just make sure we don't? Okay, who have I have not missed anybody here in court. Speedy Mart. We saw Speedy Mart?
Yes, Your Honor. Stephen Origero for Speedy Mart and Midget Market. I am in the Henry case.
Okay. That's my flipping through quickly. Who have I not called? Anybody else that I've not called? A through J.
Yes, Your Honor. Jack Burden, bar number 6918, on behalf of the Sprouts entities, SF Markets, for King and Henry.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? A to J last name needs to make an appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, we've got 2, so let's...
Good morning, Your Honor.
We're doing A to J last names first, okay? So, Ms. Pfister, do you want to make your appearance on whoever you're with?
Good morning, Lorraine Frister for KD Distributors, LLC, and KD Distributors of Nevada, LLC, and KD Distributors, Inc. in the Henry and King matters, and I also have Pro Hac Vice Counsel on the line.
And Pro Hac Vice Counsel would like to make your appearance then, please?
Yes, Caitlin Zoff for Kihei Distributors.
Okay, we have one more voice.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jonathan Fountain for NSF International in Henry, Richt, and Cava.
Thanks. We don't show Kevin on for today, but that may have been an oops on, okay. Anybody else need to make an appearance in these cases?
And good morning, Your Honor. Jim Neale on behalf of WFM and UNFW in the Henry and King cases.
Ms. Winspear, I can't hear you. I think you're still on mute, or you look like you're not on mute. You look like you were maybe speaking, but we can't hear you. Would you like to make your appearance, please? This is why it's so very important, audio-visual only, please, in this case, so we can see everyone, right? That way we know who's talking. That means even if you're not specifically speaking, you need to keep it on audio-visual. That was the only thing, remember, that the court allowed. So when you're turning your video off, please do not do so. Ms. Winspear, we still can't hear you. Can you type in the chat? Okay, anybody else need to make an appearance while Ms. Winspear is checking the chat? On behalf of Springs, Water, and Henry. Okay, thank you. And Mr. Nurujian, did you have a chance to make your appearance? And I mispronounced your name, so my apologies. Kohawk for Costco, you able to make your appearance? Okay. Once again, please keep yourselves on audio-visual so we know who we're dealing with in these multiple cases. This is the reason why it's so very important. Thank you. Okay, so what we have is we have a series of status checks, and since we're going to do Hunwardsen first, I'm going to do it in page order, just so we can get everything taken care of, and we have certain issues going on in certain cases. So that means Hunwardsen is first, 831543. Before likely it's going to happen in Hunwardsen, I need to get, do I have our Nevada judges on right now? I don't see them, but they do have a media request for hearings, so they're more than welcome to appear, and they're more than welcome to video. The reason why I mentioned that is we got a request, and I need to check with administration and my colleagues as well, because to see what their viewpoints are. But I wanted to let you know I got a request, and I don't know for which hearing, but there was a request to do a hearing where we don't have a jury, to have them film instead of they've been filming remotely, to actually go into our jury box, which means it would be a different view because it would show the fronts of counsel and would show the entire courtrooms. So I was going to check with each of the counsel to see if you have a position. I don't want to put you on the spot now, so what I'm just going to ask you all to do is give you a week, right, just to send either a joint letter. I don't want to necessarily get lots and lots of letters, but it seems to be one letter per case to see if anybody has an objection or if you all needed clarification, because I don't know which case they've asked it for. They just send an email saying that they'd like to do one from the jury box. And so I want to get all of you all's input because that would be a special request. And I want to make sure I have everyone's input before I respond, okay? Both. And I also have to get the input of administration to see if it's even allowable from that end, but I wanted to give you a heads up, okay? That's as much as I know in that regard. The court doesn't have a position. I just need to see what everybody else's position is, and I have to see our policies and procedures. Okay, so going to Hunwardsen. Hunwardsen, we had a couple of different things. We had the status check pursuant to scheduling order, and we have a couple of other things going on. So I'm going to leave it first to Counsel for Plaintiffs. Do you want to walk through what you need to walk through, and then we can go around and walk through what we need to with each person?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Eric Pepperman, Counsel for Plaintiffs in Hunwardsen, Richt, and Henry. With respect to our Nevada judge's request, I can say now that plaintiffs have no objection to them setting up in the jury box, and maybe it would be easier if anyone has an objection, then they can submit the letter to the court, so that way if you receive nothing, you can know that there's no objections from the parties.
Right, I just wanted it to be a joint letter per case, that way each of the counsels could get together and no one felt like they were put on the spot without, getting a heads up. So that way it's just by letter per case, either nobody has an objection or the following entities do have an objection, then I can just evaluate those and everyone can feel comfortable in the format, okay? I appreciate it. Go ahead, please.
In Hunwardsen, everything's on track. We submitted the 1,200 jury questionnaires to jury services last week by the court's requested deadline. It's our understanding that those are being filled out and will be sent around to counsel when they are filled out. We're currently in the process of briefing pretrial motions. We've been in discussions with hand in Milwaukee regarding withdrawing several of the motions that were filed on the deadline in light of the settlement between plaintiffs and those defendants, which we anticipate will be submitted shortly. And right now we are scheduled to begin the hearings on the pretrial motions on December 13th. And the parties anticipate meeting and conferring over a proposed order of those, an order in which those motions will be heard in advance of that hearing date, and we'll submit that to the court when ready.
I will need that, as you can imagine, we're preparing as we speak, given the breadth and number, right? So I need to know which ones I'm actually preparing for and which ones are being withdrawn, please, by no later than this Friday.
The stipulation, and I can let Mr. Fears confirm that he's prepared the stipulation. I think we have approval on most of it, so it should be submitted, if not today, tomorrow.
The goal is to have it, Chad Fears on behalf of Canada, the goal is to have it submitted today. We sent a draft, various people made suggestions and submitted it. I've sent it around to get everyone's approval with their e-signature. I'm hoping today.
Thanks, and did you include the document numbers?
Yes,
That's so
the
very
document
important.
numbers for everything is.
Appreciate it, thank you, yeah.
Item.
Okay, same thing with the listing of the order that you want. I mean, please, by this Friday, no later than Monday, just because we're working, trying to get everything sorted, organized. You can appreciate there's a lot to go through, so we need to be fully prepared for you. So I prefer Friday, but no later than Monday, end of business, if you want it in a particular order, those motions to be heard, okay, that remain. With regards, thank you. With regards to, sorry, Mr. Parker, you wanted to speak, and then I was going to say something back with juries.
The only other thing, Your Honor, this will also affect the number of pretrial motions. Mr. Odou and I had a conversation yesterday where I believe I'm not speaking out of turn. Real Water will concede liability. So as a result, there should be a reduction in the number of pretrial motions between plaintiffs and Real Water.
Thank you. Is that an EDCR 7.50 stipulation on the record as memorialized in court, or let me hear, because I know we had two positions going on, so we're talking Hunwardsen only at this juncture, correct?
That's my belief, it's only Hunwardsen, Your Honor, and I would suggest that we get us something in writing just to make it cleaner.
Writing is wonderful. I'm just trying to, as you can appreciate, as we're staging different things for getting things organized, my wonderful team is figuring out, right? Some people want dailies of certain things, so we just have to kind of get a concept. If that puts you on the spot and you don't answer today, that's fine as well. Go ahead, Mr. Odou. If you want to answer, go ahead, and if you don't, that's fine too.
Thank you, Your Honor. Joul Odou on behalf of Real Water Inc. and AffinityLifestyles.com Inc. That is correct, Your Honor. Mr. Parker and I have reached an agreement as to all plaintiffs for liability and for causation, all plaintiffs but Brody. It's going to be reduced to a stipulation that will be a dismissal of the claims other than the strict liability claim, which will proceed to trial on damages only. And that's why we felt it would be important for this to be a written stipulation for the court. But I think it's fair to apprise the court that those are the positions we've taken in the oppositions to motions of limine and the oppositions to motion for summary judgment that have already been filed, so it is part of the record.
Right, which is why I'm going to in a few moments walk through the ET&T terrible Herbst concept on the trial. But let me circle back, since you mentioned jury questioners, and you should feel free to sit down or stand up, whatever's comfortable for you here in court. With regards to jury questioners, we have a large number, no surprise, of excusals, right? A lot of them came in late Wednesday, even Friday, and some yesterday. So my wonderful JEA is collecting those. We will need a quick turnaround on if you are going to stip to excuse, okay? Because jurors are starting to come in this Thursday, so you can appreciate the ones that are set for this week are calling more so we're going to try and prioritize those to get you that list, okay? For those of you who were involved in opioid or any of the construction defect, we send you basically a chart and says, you know what, they're a state excusal. Sometimes we're able to send if they sent a letter, right? Depending on who has it. And then we just ask you to send back a confirmation, right, with a stipulation of which ones you wish to stip to excuse, okay? Because we really, these are not the statutory excusals, right? Or the non-qualified. These are people who are saying things such as they're out of town, right? Or things like that, okay? So we're hoping to get that to you by end of day today, at least the ones for this week. And then we'll have a short deadline on the ones for this week and then a little bit longer for the ones that are coming up, okay?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
So we're getting that as quick to you as we can, but it's been a lot of people this time and kind of staggering in, so. So, Counsel for Plaintiff, before I circle to ET&T on the stipulation, other aspects, anything else you want to address for the purposes of your status check?
No, Your Honor, I believe that's it.
Okay, so is the current case in Hunwardsen then for Hannah, subject to everything being signed, NEOs taken care of, and then things being withdrawn for Hannah, that the case moves forward with Real Water of Tennessee as to both liability and damages, all pronged, or is it having multiple? What, can we focus on what's moving forward as to the parties left in the case, please, from plaintiff's perspective, and then we'll circle around to other people, please.
Again, Teddy Parker on behalf of Plaintiffs, Your Honor. From the plaintiff's perspective, our case will go forward against Real Water and against Terrible Herbst, or Terrible or ETT, whatever you want to call it. That's from the plaintiff's perspective.
But is ETT and Terrible stipulated to liability and causation, so they're only damages as well, or is there going to be a liability trial and a causation trial? That's what I'm trying to get
At this
clarification.
point, there will be a liability and causation and damages trial against Terribles. We'll see how the pretrial motions play out, Your Honor, because certainly there's a dynamic between Real Water conceding liability and the strict products liability that we can attach to, in my opinion, Terribles. So,
But the claims against Terribles are currently set for trial. Is it more than just the strict liability claim, or is part of your stipulation with Real Water that it reduces a claim for the entirety of the case, or just as to, I'm going to call them Real Water entities, and then carve out, I'm going to have to find out from Real Water Tennessee, but.
It's our intention, Your Honor, to dismiss all negligence claims, which would include Terribles too. So then it would just be strict products liability. And what we ran into in the last trial, which became, I think, somewhat disjointed.
Which is why you can appreciate the court might be getting clarification up front. Go ahead, please.
Absolutely. We found that at times other defendants mixed or confused defenses to strict liability from defenses to negligence claims. And so we want to prevent that from happening, of course, this time.
So is it, Counsel, Mr. Pepperman, since you represent the balance of plaintiffs, is that correct? It's only strict liability for the entirety of the case, regardless of who the defendant is? And then I have to deal with third-party claims, because remember I got Real Water, Tennessee, and different prongs. That's why I have to walk through each of this. Go ahead, please.
Well, Your Honor, in terms of the stipulation with Real Water, that's only going to affect the claims against Real Water. Mr. Parker's right. In all likelihood, we will not go forward with any of the negligence claims or anything besides the strict liability claims at trial, but we'll most likely disclose that in the pretrial disclosure where we abandon claims after the hearings on the pretrial motions.
Well, that's why the court needs to know, right? Because I have to look at the eyes of the pretrial motions with the actual claims going forward if that decision has been made at that juncture, if it's being made contingent, right? Plus, you can appreciate, I might get a request from ET&T, I already have it, right? They want bifurcation. They had asked previously. So I have to evaluate all of these. I'm not evaluating it today for purpose of any ruling. I'm just trying to, as you can appreciate, right, get the scope of what the court needs to evaluate so that we get you a nice, clean, clear trial on the claims that are to go forward, the defenses that are to go forward, realizing that there may be some behind the scenes going on currently. Go ahead, counsel.
I understand that, Your Honor, and we can address that in advance of the pretrial motions, but for the purposes of the stipulation, it won't memorialize anything with Terrible Herbst.
Okay, so it seems to me I need another status check. Do I need another status check before the pretrial motions to folks? Well, let me hear let me hear Terrible Herbst's position, because I've heard from two. Counsel for ET&T Terrible Herbst, would you like to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the first we're learning about.
Remember to state your name. You can appreciate with a checkerboard full of people, names of the parties you represent. Thank you. We are talking Hunwardsen only for purposes of status check, even though we did the appearances for all cases. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Valerie Rojas for Terrible Herbs on Hunwardsen only, Your Honor. This is the first we are learning about the real water stipulation, but we certainly anticipated it. So we do have a motion in limine, as Your Honor indicated, to exclude reference to that stipulation. As far as Terrible Herbs, we will be proceeding to trial, contesting both liability, causation, and then as well as some damages, although not past medical expenses.
Okay. So you understand I'm going to end up having another trial management conference before our well, we're going to have to figure out when we're going to have a trial management conference, right? Because that's going to be structure, that's going to be time, that's going to be your jurors. So what I'm going to do is we're going to finish up with Hunwardsen for general status check. I'm going to go through the rest of my other cases so that not everyone has to wait, right? And then we're probably going to circle back on either finding another day before your pretrial motions so that we can kind of have a more in-depth and walk through how we're going to focus on your trial. What is the impact? Does Real Water Tennessee, Mr. Cavanaugh, would you like to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. Third-party defendant Real Water Tennessee is not a party to any of the stipulations that were made by Mr. Odou. We are still actively defending the entirety of the third-party claims by United Natural Foods West. We intend to do so fully at trial. However many causes of action are being pursued is kind of irrespective of our position. We're defending third-party claims, and there's nothing changed about that. UNFW has also made cross-claims against other defendants, and that's between Mr. Odou's clients, as well as a third-party claim against another one of Mr. Odou's clients, called Real Water Gold Coast. We're in the trial to defend the third-party claims by defendant United Natural Foods West.
Okay, which means I'm going to circle to the United Natural Foods West, finish up this tail, and then I'll go back to you, Mr. Odou, on some of your cross claims, okay? So, United Natural Foods West, with regards to the third-party complaint, can you please explain to the court what's going forward for trial in light of, you've got some unique?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Jim Neale on behalf of UNFW and Whole Foods Market. Your Honor, we do, I'll set aside the cross claims we have against Odou's clients. There are third-party claims, one third-party claim still remaining against Real Water of Tennessee. The court will recall that UNFW and Whole Foods have settled with the only plaintiff that had a claim against them. So our third-party claim, if you will, has been liquidated. We have motions pending, Your Honor, among the many before the court, to proceed with that third-party claim in a post-verdict fashion against Real Water Tennessee. We believe the issues are equitable and purely legal, and that they need not be presented to the jury. I realize that's not right for adjudication today, but that's the status of that claim.
Okay, so you can understand, we're walking through your trial management things, and hopefully people are taking notes so that everyone's clear when we're going to have another trial management conference, right, to walk through the structure of how this is going to be, of which jury, whatever, and it's going to make more sense to do it before some of these motions. We'll work that through. You can get your thoughts on that. So cross-claim issues.
Your Honor, Joul on behalf of Real Water Inc. and Infinity and Real Water Gold Coast. There's a couple things that have been said that are incorrect, and so I want to make sure that the court understands exactly what's going on, because we don't currently have a complete understanding here. Let me start with Real Water Gold Coast. That's the easiest one. They've been dismissed.
We agree, Your Honor.
Okay, and remember when you're popping up with a voice, Mr. Neale, we need to, each person, let Mr. Odou speak, then we'll go back and I'll let the response to the cross-claimant so we get a nice clear record, because once again, we got a checkerboard here, and we got a lot of people waiting, which wish they had outstanding pro bono cases, because they would have gone first, but go ahead.
We have an agreement, as I said, Real Water Gold Coast is dismissed, that resolves that issue. As to Real Water Inc. and Affinity, we have agreements as to all plaintiffs except for Brody. My co-counsel represents Real Water as far as the Brody claim. That claim is still being negotiated between plaintiff and Real Water. So when I said earlier, I said...
I'm sorry, but you said, I'm sorry, just so I'm clear, I thought it was liability on all, causation of all but Brody. Is that correct?
I can't speak on behalf of the Brody claim because my co-counsel handles that. So
For liability as well, is that correct?
Well, our liability stipulation will likely take care of that issue, but I don't want to speak on their behalf. So we're conceding liability for all plaintiffs but Brody. If they want to wrestle with that, I'm going to let them wrestle with that. Definitely they're disputing causation for Brody. That she wasn't injured by the consumption of the real water is the issue for trial for Brody as of this moment. That could change. These discussions have been ongoing, and as I indicated, it's really important to get this in writing so that it's completely clear rather than trying to do this with everybody interjecting different points at different times. I think it's not fair to the court.
Right, right. You understand what the court's trying to do is, I'm trying to, from a case management standpoint, have an understanding about whether or not I need to have another case management conference either before your pretrial motions, or maybe we do at the beginning of the pretrial motions when you're already set to be here, so that we know what the landscape is, right?
We do, but I don't think it's fair to the court to say, here's a piece, here's a piece, here's a piece, and everybody to chime in, because we just get a confused mess, which is what I think we have at the moment. And so I think this has to be reduced to writing, so there is no misunderstanding as to exactly what is happening. And then I would like to address the third-party claims.
Sure.
Third-party claims, there's remaining third-party claims against Real Water Tennessee. That is a separate legal entity. Their position is they sold water in Tennessee. UNFW disagrees with that position. That's been fully briefed. It's going to be before the court. There's a reply brief coming. I don't think it's fair for us to argue that motion.
I'm not arguing it. You understand? I'm doing it. Do I need to do another case management conference? It's really my
I
simple
don't think so,
idea.
Your Honor. These issues are not a surprise to anybody that was part of the Gallagher trial, which is plaintiffs in Real Water and Real Water Tennessee and UNFW. I recognize that Terrible Herbst is probably the only defendant that wasn't part of that, but all the other defendants were. So we see this case proceeding exactly like the Gallagher case proceeding. We don't see it as something that's a surprise to anybody but possibly Terrible Herbst. As to the third-party claims against Real Water and Affinity, again, we don't think those should be bifurcated. We've opposed that motion as well. The court's going to make a ruling, and all parties will abide by that ruling.
Here's a message that the court's seeming to hear from the parties. What could have been a very simple saying, hey, is this case just going straight on product liability as to party A, B, C, and only a first-party claim seems to be a more complex of where the current landscape is. So what the court is going to do is you all are coming, whoever's not on mute, please remotely and is typing, please put yourself on mute if you're not, since you're not speaking, since I am. Thank you so very much. At this juncture, what the court's going to do, you're coming before me on the 13th. We're going to revisit this specifically on the 13th, and then we'll deal with whether that needs to get revisited before your motion practice or at the conclusion of motion practice. What I did not want to have happen was people go through motion practice and say, guess what, all of a sudden, because there's some, quote, surprises in the trial management concept, that the case would need to be continued. So I was trying to give everyone a fair opportunity. Now it's in November, right, because you've known it since beforehand, just to see if there's something that somebody wants a trial management conference before you're coming before me on the 13th. On behalf of Real Water, do you want a trial management conference before you come before me on the 13th?
We do not believe one will be necessary. We believe a written stipulation will resolve this, and we also note that we need to agree upon dates for replies to the motion. I don't want to change the topic, but
They were supposed to all be triggered by the 13th.
So then they're due the 6th.
Yeah. Because I don't know the order yet that you all want to do it, so that's why we said that they were triggering it all for the 13th.
And we will have that for the court by Monday, as the court's already requested.
Okay. So you do not request additional trial management conference?
No.
Counsels for plaintiff, do you request additional trial management conference before me on the 13th?
No, Your Honor, I agree with Mr. Odou. And your questions are all well taken, and a lot of these are addressed in the pretrial motion. So I think they're kind of part and parcel together, that a lot of these questions will be answered based on the resolution of the motions. And at that time, it would probably make the most sense to have
But you all have the knowledge of which pretrial motions you're still intending to come before the court. I don't yet know that, because I don't have your motion back, which is why I have to ask these questions, okay? I would love to have a crystal ball, okay? I don't.
No,
So that's the reason why I need to know these, because preparing for, been there, done that lots of times, yes, over the last 13 years, but it allows the court to focus in on the ones that I think are coming up first, even if you don't come to an agreement which ones this court's gonna pick to go first, to try and get you all moving forward and all your different moving parts that are behind the scenes and currently here in front of the court. So since I don't know yet what's coming before me, I only know what you all have filed. I know what I've looked at so far, what you filed, but I don't even know if I'm even gonna be hearing it. That's why I'm trying to get a little bit of clarity, particularly if there's gonna be something that is some change that you all have already negotiated in the background that I don't yet know about, which is part of the purpose, you know, of status checks, right? To inform the court. Mr. Parker, did you wish to be heard?
Just briefly, Your Honor. I agree with most of what Mr. Odou said, and I believe the same in terms of what Mr. Pepperman said. I think we're, only reason I'd say most, I only differ because I think we're ahead of where we were in the Gallagher case. A lot of decisions that we're making now and resolutions we've achieved in the last 2 weeks, we didn't get those until the day before trial we started picking the jury. So we're ahead of the game, Your Honor, so I want to give you some comfort by saying that. The only other thing I would say is we are all appreciative of your questions because they're prompting us to do certain things and to streamline, I believe, what will come before the court on December 13th as we do the pretrial motions. And we will endeavor to get you a list by the end of the week of the ones we intend to go forward with. Hopefully we'll have a stipulation done with real water before then as well. So hopefully that gives the court some form of understanding where we're going.
And do you request a pretrial, any kind of trial management conference before the 13th or not?
I don't believe we need one before the 13th. I think what will happen, Your Honor, is that as we complete the pretrial motions, you will have more time than we thought we needed, and we can do one at that point if necessary.
Okay, thanks.
I think it will happen more organically.
Sure, thanks. On behalf of hand instruments, are you requesting a trial? I'm not cutting just to the chase. If anyone's requesting any trial management conference before the 13th, please let me know.
If there's on behalf of Hannah, no.
Okay. Mr. Spurlock, on behalf of your clients in their various roles, yes or no?
No, Your Honor.
Real Water Tennessee, yes or no?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cavanaugh, on Real Water in Tennessee, ETT.
Valerie Rojas for Charitable Herbst, no, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm now taking care of everyone in Hunwardsen. You're not requiring something different. So let's finish up with a couple of different things that we had with regards to on for today. So I've walked through jury questionnaires, we walked through that, we worked through trial management conference, meeting before the hearings, we did hearings, gotten that taken care of. There was, you all have there was a pending order that said no one responded, including plaintiffs. And that was Mr. Spurlock from your firm, my recollection is correct. 1 second, please, no, sorry. Okay, the Love one is going to be returned because it doesn't say there'll be compliance with Supreme Court rule. Any ProHocs, right, you have to have that language in their ProHoc order, so you're getting that one back. Then the good faith says no one responded, but I saw no emails about circulation. So, did you all approve it, not see it? What's up with that? The Whole Foods motion for good faith is where I'm going on that one. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Okay. By the way, with Smith, you're getting it back too. Same reason on the ProHoc. Okay. You need to say he has to comply with, and will comply with Supreme Court Rule, right, 42. And unfortunately, the reason why I now make sure that that has it on all of them is, then they're done that, had an issue with someone saying, well, it doesn't say so in the order, so. Making sure, even though it says so in the rule, it just makes life easier. 1 second, sorry. We have,
This is Eric Freeman for Real Water. We'll make the correction to that order for Mark Love.
United Natural Food West and Southern Nevada's order granting motion for determination good faith settlement. Those all said no responses by anybody else. On setting that OST. Do you know what I'm talking about by chance, Mr. Spurlock? United Natural Foods, Well Waters, Southern Nevada's order granting motion for determination good faith settlement, order granting motion to seal and redact confidential terms.
I know we submitted the order, Your Honor.
Right, but you attached that there was no response from anybody. Which is surprising in this case. It says no response for everyone.
We don't recall seeing it. I doubt we'd have an objection to it, but we'd like to see it.
Okay, it's getting returned because you have.
I'll make sure, Your
no,
Honor.
you have no responses from everyone. And that
I will check with counsel, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm typing in, please ensure circulation before use. Not. Okay, so you got that one back. So anyone else think that they have a proposed order that needed to be signed? Those are the three the court was aware of, and I just wanted to let you know in open court that they were being returned for the reasons and find out why the United Foods. Okay. So what else on Hunwardsen do the parties need? Anybody need anything? First here in open court. Anybody need anything? If so, stand up and let me know. No one's standing up. Remotely, does anyone need anything else on Hunwardsen? FYI, please go back to document 367 in this case and take a look. I think you all submitted something without, might not have been approved by the court. Can you just double check? I didn't see something when we were looking through things. It may have just been, it was good. Can we just double check that, please? Okay, if that's taken care of Hunwardsen, we are now going to Richt. Richt is case 831880, pages 34 to 60. We don't need appearances again because we already did. We got the joint status report, thank you, filed, that was document 373. So at this juncture, I'm going to go to counsel for plaintiffs, and this one, we had moved, I thought I moved Rick to today to do the, no, there's an outstanding issue with Rick who is incarcerated as the named party, and I thought you all were doing a stipulation to amend your caption in Rick, or maybe not. So let me find out, Rick, counsel for plaintiffs, do you need to be heard on Richt?
Nothing. Eric Pepperman, counsel for all plaintiffs except Rick. Nothing to add.
Okay. Real Water, do you need to be heard on anything on Richt?
Joul, on behalf of the Real Water defendants, nothing to add on Rick.
Okay. Circling around, here in court, Hannah.
Chad Fierce on behalf of Hannah, nothing to add, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Spurlock, on behalf of your clients, and I'm going to miss one in Richt, so I'm going to call grouping, but in a second. Go ahead, please.
On behalf of Whole Foods, Your Honor, we have nothing to add.
Okay. Anyone? Counsel for Milwaukee Instruments, do you wish to be heard on Richt?
Elizabeth Lowell from Milwaukee Instruments. We have nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay. And I know there's pending motions for partial summary judgment. They're set for the 30th. Now, those are set for this Thursday, but they should have been set at the same time as your pretrial motions, or is there some reason as to NSF Internationals and Affinity both have motions for summary judgment against Rick, either in whole or in part? If you, I was keeping those on for the 30th because those involve just that one entity that would appear to be part of your standard pretrial motions. Does anybody requesting that I move those to the same date as all the other motions in December? Seems to me like you all were trying to clean up the caption on Richt, not taking any position on substantively on anything I'm hearing on Thursday.
Your Honor, Joul on behalf of the Real Water entities in the Rick case, we don't expect an opposition to that. This is Mr. Rick, who is in pro per and possibly incarcerated.
Right, which is the reason why the court was going to leave it on the 30th in order from a due process standpoint, because he would have gotten any notifications for the 30th, and I wasn't gonna move it for that reason, unless somebody had some knowledge that I should be moving it. Council for Benny's, your motion on one of them.
Yeah, we would leave it where it is.
Okay, NSF International, you have the other motion.
Your Honor, this is Jonathan Fountain for NSF International. We would also like to leave it on for the 30th.
Okay, which is what the court's doing. Does anyone else need to be heard on those two pending motions? Because I'm keeping it on the 30th, and only the parties that are affected need to be here, right? Or, okay, nobody else. So I'm moving forward on Rick. So now let's go to NSF. Anything else on Rick in general, the case, other than I mentioned the motion for partial summary judgment?
Your Honor, the only other, excuse me, this is Jonathan Fountain for NSF. Your Honor, the only other potential issue is it's our understanding that Mr. Richt was the only plaintiff asserting a claim against NSF. So we will be asking counsel for the other plaintiffs to stipulate to a dismissal.
Well, stay tuned on the 30th. We'll see, I guess, what happens, or if you do something in the background. Now, as an FYI, Nevada Beverage's motion to dismiss on Richt was inadvertently on the 5th. That one did get moved to the 13th/14th because that was a pre-trial. Oh, wait a second. Nevada Beverage, do you want to be heard on your motion to dismiss?
Thank you, Your Honor. Colt Dodrill, bar 9,000. We withdrew our motion to dismiss as moot. We reached a resolution with Real Water entities in Real Water of Tennessee and dismissed those, so we're not in Richt anymore.
I'm sorry, I don't see a notice of withdrawal, but is that a statement in open court? So the motion to dismiss schedule 1214, you need that vacated as moot, is that correct?
That can be vacated, Your Honor. I thought we filed a notice of withdrawal. If not, that is in process, and we'll get that filed shortly.
If we didn't get a courtesy copy, you can appreciate going fishing to look for those. We've got a lot of other things, so we would appreciate, is that a confirmation you're doing a stipulation, or are you just doing, can I treat this as vacating the hearing based on the statements of counsel in open court for the motion to dismiss of Nevada Beverage and Richt, case 831880?
Yes, Your Honor, you may withdraw that, but thank you.
Okay, vacating that as moot, okay. So, who else wants to be heard on Richt case?
This is Jim Cavanaugh, Your Honor, for Real Water of Tennessee, LLC. We were a third-party defendant of Nevada Beverage. We had two motions for summary judgment pending in the Richt matter. One regarding Nevada Beverage. After being dismissed with prejudice, we filed a notice of withdrawal of our motion for summary judgment on behalf of Real Water of Tennessee with regard to Nevada Beverage. My understanding that there's also been a stipend order filed with, by United Natural Foods West regarding their third-party claim against Real Water of Tennessee. And as soon as that's been completed, then we would also, and I think we may have already notified the court, withdraw our motion for summary judgment against United Natural Foods West regarding their third-party complaint.
I appreciate it. Mr. Kavanaugh, we shows a notice of entry of order dated 11/22/2023 at 10:06 a.m. It's a notice of entry of order, stipulation order to dismiss with prejudice Nevada Beverage Co.'s cross-claim against defendants Affinity Lifestyle, Inc., DBA Real Water LLC, Real Water Inc., and to dismiss with prejudice Nevada Beverage's third-party complaint against Real Water of Tennessee. Is that what you're referring to, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, and we wanted to make sure the court knew we were withdrawing our motion for summary judgment as against Nevada Beverage as well.
Okay, thank you. Do you by chance have a document number on that?
I apologize, Your Honor. I'm at home and I do not have that file in front of me, but I know we filed it with the court last week.
Thank you. Yeah, we got on 11/21 document 370. Hold on, let's make sure. 370 is Nevada Beverage's motion to dismiss cross claims. Is that the one you're referring to, counsel?
Yes, that's part of the. My question is, does the court have our dismissal or our withdrawal of the motion for summary judgment? Because that's now moot.
Counsel, there's hundreds and hundreds of entries for the court to take a look at. Would you mind sending us a courtesy copy if you did send a notice and just send it to my JEA and CC it right so that we get that and we can just clarify it that way, thank you, rather than keeping everyone and trying to look up all the entries, okay?
Will do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Appreciate it, thank you. Anybody else want to be heard on Rick? Thank you for the heads up, folks. No, okay, that takes care of pages 34 to 60. Moving next to King versus Real Water 833630, which is pages 61 to 66. Different counsel for plaintiffs. Would you like to be heard on this?
Good morning, Your Honor. Danielle Miller for Plaintiff Lisa King. I think we're on track. We filed a stipulation to extend discovery by 120 days. We have a new trial date as of next October. Other than that, we're just plugging along.
Okay. Real Water, do you wish to be heard on, bless you, on the King matter?
Joul for Real Water, nothing to add, that's accurate.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to be heard on the King matter? The pending things we show for the King matter is that based on the prior stipulation, we don't see you for a status check till August 20th of 2024. And otherwise, we show some notice of compliance for documents, etc. Does anyone else wish to be heard on the King matter? No? Okay, we're moving on then. Thank you so very much.
No, I have
Thank
another
you,
hearing.
sorry.
I have another hearing, so I'm gonna step out.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, going to Henry, 67 to 73, case 844176. Counsels for plaintiffs, what's up with Henry that you'd like to address? I got the joint status report 1122. Anything else you need to provide the court?
Eric Pepperman for plaintiffs, nothing to add, Your Honor.
Okay, counsel for Affinity, Real Water, do you wish to be heard? Anything on Henry matter?
Joul Odou for Real Water defendants, nothing to add.
Okay, anybody else here in court wish to be heard on the Henry matter? Seeing negatory nods. Anyone remotely wish to be heard on the Henry matter, 844176? Nope, okay. Remember, this is the one, pretrial comments 8-1, calendar called 9-3, trial set 9-16. That concludes then Henry matter, 67 to 73. Tyler Dealman, case 844348. Counsel for plaintiff on Dealman, please. We got a status report, just filed yesterday, 11/27 at 2:01. This has got some bankruptcy issues, so what's up? What do you need to discuss in Dealman, please? Counsel for plaintiff.
Morning, Your Honor. Thomas Valet for the plaintiff. We have nothing to add to the status report, Your Honor. We are working cooperatively and have no issues to report.
Okay, and then we look like we have you for hearing for potential resolution on January 9th. Is that correct, counsel?
It's, Your Honor, it's not a direct negotiation with respect to my client. It's I understand that there's a global plan that the bankruptcy trustee is trying to fashion for on behalf of the carriers, and there's opposition to that. So I don't know what's going to happen in January. A previous plan was rejected, I understand, based on opposition of certain plaintiffs, including Dealman in that instant.
It seems to me I need to see you sometime in early February in this case, just to keep us on track, because otherwise it looks like I'm not seeing you until mid-2024. Any reason not to set a status check on Dealman for mid-February?
That would be fine, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to be heard? Dealman, Affinity, counsel?
No, Your Honor, that would be fine. Joul Odou for Real Water defendants.
Okay, do you have a preference? How's February 20th?
Perfect.
February 20th, 8:30, excuse me, my voice is going. Okay, so 74, anything else on Dealman? Affinity, did you want to be heard anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, that's nothing else for plaintiff. Counsel for Affinity, anything else on Dealman?
Nothing else, Your Honor. Joul Odou for Real Water.
Anybody else want to be heard on Dealman, page 74, case 844348, other than February 20th, 8:30 a.m. is going to be a court-ordered status check. That gives you time for what you're doing elsewhere. No? Okay, that takes care of Dealman. I think I'm now taking care of all of the Real Water cases. Last call. Anybody need anything? If not, I'm going to wish you a great rest of your day. Hope, like I said already, people had a good Thanksgiving. We'll sing Hunwardsen often. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.